From one of basketball's biggest stars, Isaiah Thomas of the Boston Celtics, being comforted by a teammate. Thomas decided to play in the game just a day after the tragic death of his sister in a car accident.
Isaiah looking for another one. Oh, look at the pass. And Bradley had Lopez closing out on him, gives it right back. Oh, Isaiah Thomas. And Boston is back on top. To fourth gear. And he's fouled. It goes. Isaiah Thomas puts Boston on top.
In 2017, Isaiah Thomas played through the death of his sister and a torn hip labrum to save the Celtics season. He averaged 28.9 points per game, led them to the #1 seed, lost a tooth in the playoffs, and kept playing. He thought he was building a legacy.
You can actually watch it come out of his mouth during this replay, which you guys spoke about on this particular play. Watch him come across, and you'll see the tooth come flying out of his mouth. Picks up the tooth and brings it over to the bench, as you guys.
Danny Ainge saw medical liability that needed to be moved before the bill came due. 4 months later, Isaiah was traded to Cleveland. The deal was delayed because Cleveland's medical staff said Boston had undersold the severity of the injury. His path to a $180 million contract was gone.
And now Isaiah Thomas checks in for his first time as a Cavalier.
Welcome to the land, number 3, Isaiah Thomas!
That same year, Nerlens Noel rejected a 4-year $70 million offer from the Mavs on the advice of his new agent. The agent told him to hold out for a max deal. Over the next 4 years, Noel earned $12.7 million. He lost $57.3 million in a single decision. Most fans call these tragic injuries and bad decisions. I call them architectural liquidation. While you were watching the highlights, the architects were auditing CBA clauses that allow teams and systems to void a player's value the second their medical file or their agent becomes a financial liability. This is the liquidation. Now, if you think this is just history, if you think this only happened to Isaiah Thomas in 2017, you're missing the $48 million trap happening right now to Jalen Williams. Because the architects didn't stop with Isaiah. They just upgraded the weapon. Let's talk about what actually happened to Isaiah Thomas. In 2017, he famously said the Celtics would need to bring out the Brinks truck to re-sign him. He had earned it, 5'9" in a league of giants, 28.9 points per game, all NBA second team. Playing through a femoral acetibular impingement, a labral tear in his hip, first aggravated in March 2017 when Karl Anthony Towns fell on him. But Danny Ainge knew something Isaiah didn't. The Uniform Player Contract, Article 2, Section 7, allows teams to terminate a contract if a player's injury materially affects their ability to perform. Translation, if you get hurt playing for us and we decide the injury is too severe, we can move you before the bill comes due. Ainge knew Isaiah's hip was a femoral acetibular impingement. He knew the injury was degenerative. So he traded him before the max contract conversation ever happened. By trading Isaiah to Cleveland for Kyrie Irving, the Celtics offloaded a potential $180 million salary obligation and replaced it with a younger, healthier asset. Cleveland's own medical staff said Boston had undersold the injury. The Celtics had to add a 2020 second-round pick just to get the deal done. Isaiah got liquidated. And right now in March 2026, the same mechanism, different fine print, is being used on Jalen Williams. He missed the first 19 games of the season recovering from off-season wrist surgery, then suffered a hamstring strain in January 2026 that cost him another 10 games.
Coming out of that Eric Spoelstra timeout, it looked like J-Dub was trying to lob it up there for Holmgren, and it was out of bounds. And J-Dub is holding his hamstring.
With 26 games played and roughly 27 remaining in the regular season, Williams cannot reach the 65-game threshold. He just lost $48 million in Supermax eligibility. Not because he didn't perform, he made All-NBA third team last season. Because of a participation rule that sounds like it's about player health but functions as a financial disqualifier. Different mechanism, same architects. Then there's Nerlens Noel, the poster child for the restricted free agency stare down. In July 2017, Noel was a restricted free agent with the Dallas Mavs. His then agent Happy Walters had negotiated a 4-year $70 million offer. Then Rich Paul entered the picture. Paul told Noel to fire Walters, sign with Clutch Sports, reject the $70 million, and hold out for a max deal. Noel followed the advice, but here's what Rich Paul either didn't understand or didn't tell him. Restricted free agency is an architectural cage. Here's how it works. The Mavs issued Noel a qualifying offer, making him a restricted free agent. That means any team that wanted to sign him had to make an offer sheet, and Dallas had the right to simply match it. This scared away every other buyer. No team wanted to spend $70 million on a player Dallas could just take back. Noel's phone didn't ring. He was forced to sign the $4.1 million qualifying offer, thinking he'd be free the next year. But the market never recovered, and the 4 years following his rejection of the Mavs offer, Noel earned $12.7 million total, against the $70 million on the table. That's $57.3 million lost. In 2021, Noel sued Rich Paul and Clutch Sports in Dallas County, Texas, alleging breach of fiduciary duty and claiming $58 million in lost earnings. The judge dismissed the case, ruling NBA agent disputes require NBPA arbitration, not civil court. Rich Paul countersued for his commission. In January 2023, Noel paid it in full and withdrew all proceedings. The agent who cost him $57.3 million got paid twice. The Architects won, and right now in 2026, the same RFA Cage is being used on restricted free agents across the league. The mechanism hasn't changed, only the victims. By the time Noel finally signed a meaningful contract in 2021, he had lost $57.3 million and 4 years of his prime. But here's what should terrify you. The Architects watched Isaiah Thomas trade his body for a logo that didn't love him back. They watched Nerlens Noel lose his future in an RFA stare-down, and they learned. Now they're using the 65-game rule to take $48 million from Jalen Williams, and all NBA eligibility from Giannis Antetokounmpo. Jalen Williams, 26 games played as of March 2026, ineligible for the 65-game threshold. Supermax eligibility lost. Financial impact, negative $48 million. Giannis Antetokounmpo, 35 games played as of March 2026. Averaging 27.5 points, 9.7 rebounds, 5.4 assists. MVP level production. Ineligible for All-NBA selection despite being one of the best players on the planet. This is the same playbook. Create a rule that sounds like it protects player health, use it to void financial obligations. Isaiah lost his future because of a hip injury in Article 2, Section 7. Jalen and Giannis are losing their futures because of a participation threshold and the 65-game rule. Different mechanisms, same architects. These weren't unlucky breaks, they were architectural stress tests. Phase 1, 2017 to 2020. Isaiah Thomas, medical exception under Article 2, Section 7. Liquidated before the max contract conversation. Nerlens Noel, RFA stare-down under Article 11. Agent advised into a $57.3 million loss. Lesson, players have no leverage against the system or against the people they trust to navigate it. Phase 2, 2023 to 2027. 65-game rule, void all NBA eligibility and supermax access for players who miss games, regardless of performance. Second apron, force teams to liquidate rosters to avoid catastrophic tax penalties. Lesson, the system is the weapon. Phase 3, 2028 to 2030. Private equity takeover, sovereign wealth fund ownership. Arctos Sports Partners, Qatar Investment Authority, Saudi Public Investment Fund. Players become line items in a spreadsheet managed by entities that view basketball as a financial instrument. Isaiah and Nerlens were the victims of Phase 1. Jalen Williams and Giannis are the victims of Phase 2, and Phase 3 is already being designed in boardrooms you'll never see. By 2030, the owner of your team may not be a human being with a name you recognize. It'll be a sovereign wealth fund that views every player as a line item in an amortization schedule. And when that happens, the liquidation won't be personal. It won't be about loyalty or legacy or building a championship team. It'll be about injury risk assessments and return on investment. Isaiah Thomas gave everything to Boston. They traded him before the max contract conversation ever happened, and Cleveland's medical staff said Boston had undersold the injury just to get the deal done. Nerlens Noel bet on himself. His own agent cost him $57 million. He sued, he settled, he paid the agent. Jalen Williams is losing $48 million right now because he had wrist surgery and a hamstring strain. Not because he isn't elite, because he missed games. And the Architects are already drafting the next mechanism to liquidate the next generation. Most people watch the highlights. We look beyond the buzzer into the Architects. If I'm wrong, come back and roast me. If I'm right, come back and subscribe. Because in this league, the fine print is the only thing that's real. And the Architects are already drafting your team's eviction notice. We read the fine print so you don't have to.